Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And also,
Oh, the Juan Epstein crowd is not going to like this song.
you don't know that. Don't judge a Juan Epstein crowd.
I'm one of them, and I hate the song.
We have Rory from New Rory and Mall. That's right. Filling in for Cipha Sound. Cipha's dream has come true. He's become a white man with a red beard.
Right?
I'm just kidding. Cipha doesn't actually want to be white.
I got my dream of being Puerto Rican.
Well, you accomplish you accomplish that on your own. But no, Cipha's dream isn't to be white. It's to be treated by white girls like he's white. That's really what I want. How are you treated, Rory? Do you like you actually have an interesting existence as the, like, in some ways you're very white, and in other ways your life isn't white at all. Like, obviously I identify with this to some degree, but it's a very interesting place you operate in.
Well, I mean, I wear a lot of sunscreen, so I'm metaphysically for sure white. Like, I have on sunscreen in my house right now, SPF 50.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really know life the other way, so I've never really thought of it that type of way.
But do you know what I mean? Like, but for example, like I always say with regard to Jewish people, that I imagine there are Orthodox people who hear of me and go, that guy's not even Jewish. And relative to them, they're correct. I barely practice. But because my name is Rosenberg and I'm a public personality, I'm also like a fucking mascot for Jews also. And so, like, you're interesting because
you're not Bushwick Jewish.
No, exactly. and for you, you're not, Marlboro, New Jersey white.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and again, this Juan Epstein is extremely white.
And I apologize.
I think Lord Jamar. I think Lord Jamar would have a brain aneurysm if he were to happen to watch this episode. What is the level of vulture going on right now?
Just don't bring me on video, and then you'll be okay.
Does it feel like publishing's being stolen right now?
I was thinking about earlier. So here's the deal. So Cipha, as everyone knows, Cipha's coming back next week. But we've been trying to get things done with different people. Yesterday we had Mark Ronson. Today we have Rory. I have been in contact with many other random people who we will get down the line, like Bomani Jones and T-Pain, and we're gonna have different people when Cipha's busy. But it just happened to be a very white week.
But one of those white weeks. Is Jeff from It's the Real on next?
Rosenthal soon come Rosenthal. Actually, it would be Eric, because Jeff's not a real podcast listener. Eric's the real. He's the one-epper. Eric's the real one-epper.
And Eric has much better Jewish curls than I think Jeff does. So
Jeff could pass. I mean,
for sure.
He's tall. He doesn't have the curls. So in thinking about this, to explain to the audience what's going on, Rory and I speak over text in a regular way. Like, it's not, we don't talk every day, but your name popping up doesn't feel unusual. It's a regular sort of occurrence that we talk. So I was just like, yo, you want to come on? You said, sure. Didn't really think much of it about it until, like, this will be easy and fun. And then when I was getting my haircut earlier, I was like, wow, if we, depending where we wanted to go, this could actually be a fucking spark plug, piss people off kind of episode, if that was the path we decided to go down.
Yeah,
that's not the place you're in. That's not the place.
I'm not in that place at all. I want everyone to just enjoy themselves and do whatever
they want
in their lane.
You're not,
but that took me.
Are you not in any beef right now with anyone of any sort? No issues. Everything's very clean for you.
If it is, it's one-sided. I'm not aware. Or I'm not participating in any beefs. Other people can go on rants and speak all they want.
But people aren't currently doing that at this moment, are they?
Not that I've seen, but I don't research it.
I mean, you didn't get it.
I don't really type my name in Twitter anymore. I've become very much involved when it comes to hate on the internet, or just people saying things about me. I've come a long way, because I can admit I'm not one of those too cool people that was like, oh, but the internet never affects me. No, it affected me at one point.
Well,
I was annoyed at one point.
I think anyone who follows you is aware of that point. It was a known thing.
But But
I'm
now,
glad.
I mean,
I'm glad because you're still young. You figured it out. You figured it out sooner than I did. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still working on it at 43. I'm certainly better than I was, but as you know, I mean, I'm what, a few months removed from getting myself thrown into shit that I really afterwards was like, why was this worth my time?
yeah, Maul said one of the most simple but like profound thing. He doesn't even know like how much it affected me when
Oh,
he said this
please.
to me one day. He was
Okay.
like, "What are you getting so worked up for? You have the truth on your side." I was like, "Fuck, I never even thought of it that way. Why am I getting upset? The truth is on your side. So what are you going to get mad at?"
That's super interesting because I think of it as the exact opposite. Like I'm like, since the truth is on my side, and
Mhm.
since the opposite is being said, like someone is literally spreading absolute made up lies instead of, because Maul, let's be honest, naturally speaking, is probably cooler than both of us, so he
Oh, much cooler.
processes it differently,
Yeah.
and whereas I process it the opposite. I'm like, no, 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 fuck that. That's not true. I need to let everybody know the truth. When really
And
his approach is much better.
you also have to look at it like, and this isn't a shot at anyone in particular.
Here we go.
You have to see who's saying it. Fuck what they're saying. Look where it's coming from and who the person is that's saying it, and then make a choice if this is something worth entertaining or worth my time. Like the problem with beef, what people just forget, and let's not say beef because this is all, I'm not in any beef.
Right.
Words,
This is
words
all
on the internet are never beef to even begin.
correct.
Um,
Beef is the summer jam for Hot 97, as the great Mos Def said. I didn't know exactly what he meant, but keep going.
you know how you guys put the lyrics up like in the entryways at MetLife Stadium? Do you guys know you put up a Lupe Fiasco diss bar, I think, at Summer Jam, if I remember walking? I was like, I wonder if anyone knows that Lupe was actually shitting on Summer Jam in that
What did
lyric.
he? What
I
was
think
the
it was
bar? I didn't see that.
I think it was from Dumb It Down. It was from something. I'll have to look it up. I actually wish I remembered. But I don't know why that crossed my head.
I'm gonna find it.
But yeah, with the beef thing, you have to remember too, once you get in a war of words with somebody or beef with somebody, you're now in the same sentence as them. Do you feel comfortable having your name next to their name? Because now you're putting yourself as an equal to them. So there's certain people that I just don't feel like I'll go back and forth for because I have no interest in our names being in the same sentence. So that's another way I've looked at that type of shit.
By the way, again, another really strong point. That is the way to think about it. And for me, and I haven't really opened up that much about this on the podcast, but like the last time I went down the road with academics,
Mm.
it got so criminally offensive and made up and offensive that I hit that point of like, you know what? Actually, if that's what the rules are, you do win. Because I can't do this.
Yeah,
you're now playing with things that are so crazy that the only steps that I don't know where one goes after this, except really you alter your life in negative ways. Like this is where are we going now? So you know what? The internet is yours. Have a good time. He just did a sit down with DJ Vlad. I didn't click it. Like, do whatever you're gonna do. But I
watched it.
You watched it? You
I
gave
watched
us
it.
a click?
I watched it today. I think it's because when you texted me, you ended up in my algorithms and it popped up on YouTube. I was like, oh, I'm talking to Rosenberg today. Let me click this.
How bad? So give me the synopsis. How bad was it?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't. They were discussing radio and how radio is dead now and how
dead and irrelevant
and how they're the greatest. And it was a Vlad acting. And listen, the two of them together, say what you want about them, they'll be entertaining. The internet will like the two of them talking. So
yes,
I get it.
You know what? I like that. That's a very positive approach to it, and you're actually 100% correct. And in all fairness, in being honest about both of them, I have never been friendly or kind in how I've discussed either of them publicly in my entire life. So I can't really expect a lot back in return. I guess it's just the lines that I'm not willing to cross.
I feel you, and that's again why I don't do a lot of the back and forth because I don't, and in no regards am I a tough guy or any thing in that regard, but I do consider myself thorough to some degree, and I don't play those type of games. I'm not that young and into the internet where those things like
Mean
are
nothing.
okay to me. Like it's okay to me because it's the internet. Like
Right.
I'm still not that evolved, so I don't want to even participate because I don't play those types of games. So
you're what? You're in your mid-30s, right?
32.
32. Okay, 32 is old enough to not play internet games. That's correct.
Yeah, I'm not interested in it. I just bought a dining room table. I'm doing interior design in my house. I don't care.
What's your current romantic situation?
I'm single.
You're single.
Yeah.
So you bought a dining room table just as a single adult. You're just like gonna be that's an interesting road to go down. You know, the really making smart home decisions.
Well, I bought my first crib.
You bought. Congratulations. When do you buy your first crib?
I closed in November, but then I was on the road and traveled so much, I felt like I didn't even really move into it until this year. And with all fucking furniture being on back order, like I'm now just getting shit that I ordered in January, so it's starting to feel like home now.
Oh, but dude, hold on. What the fuck were you ordering that it's August and you were getting things from January?
When was the last time you ordered furniture? Everything's on back order.
It's happening right. I'm literally about to do it right now, and I'm not looking forward to it.
In some degrees, it's your fault because they said the delay on my dining room table was because of Israel and Palestine, and I was like, "What is it going through there? Why? Why is it delayed because of that?"
Wait, what the fuck does that even mean?
I'll show you the email. They blame it on that and Russia and the conflicts going on overseas. I'm like, what does that have to do with the glass dining room table that I ordered?
That is wild. Well, that is very exciting though. And at 32 years old, I did not have a crib at 32 years old. When did I buy? No, not even close. I got this place in like 2016. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in my mid 30s already when I bought a place. It is such a pain in the ass. I'm dealing with the property thing right now. It's
I was about to say,
I'm not disclosing where exactly what, but I did get a place. I realize this is the first time that I'm not gonna like blow up my spot because I'm not in an Upper West Side apartment with tons of security. So I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was a little kid who, when my parents went out on a Saturday night, when I was of the age where like you were allowed to stay home, and my parents would go out, and it would be like, you know, I'd be like 11, and they'd be like, you can stay home, you know, do whatever you want. Yeah. I was definitely in my parents' room, door locked, panic button. They had a panic button. Okay. Don't ask me why my parents. I do not. This is the first time I swear to God this may have ever come up.
You're so Jewish. It's hilarious.
Yo, we had a panic button. We had
of course you did.
A panic button. That's what it was called. Where's the panic button? Where's the? Oh my God! So and so accidentally pushed the panic button. Why did we have that? But it was connected to our alarm. So I was always a dude who, when living off in a single family home, was kind of nervous about like what's outside. Like I'm a little freaked out. So I haven't had that experience as an adult. And then when you're an adult, you realize the shittier part is, Rory, whether you're single or you have a partner or whatever, you're the man of the house. So like if some shit happens, you're the one who's going to go wandering down with a baseball bat to take a look. That's you now.
No, it's me. But I had that first revelation. When I went to, I left right before I went to college. I lived with my cousin, so I was kind of on my own. And once I left, I was like, wait, I have to feed myself.
Yeah.
I have to keep me alive. This is fucking weird. Because God bless my mother, always had dinner on the table.
Always.
Every night. So when that stopped, I was like, oh, wait, so now it's up to me to eat.
Yeah. It's the very
and that's the same thing as far as if an intruder came here. It was like, oh, well, it's not my dad that's going to be in the front of the door to protect me. I should go get some registered firearms.
By the way, so for the record, this I'm glad you brought this up. So we had a conversation, me and some people that I'm close to, about this exact conversation and the place that I'm going to be spending time, right? Because it's not in Manhattan. Okay. And they were like, yo, you need to get, you should get a gun. You should have a gun. Yeah, I am not a gun guy. Okay. I don't judge my friends who have guns, but I am truly a pacifist by nature. I do not, I know
that liberal piece of shit Hot 97. That's why.
I know exactly. I know that snowflake radio.
Yes,
but no, ignore the fact that I've randomly had beefs where I've told people I want to punch them in the face or fight them or slap them or dumb things I've said. When I'm actually being clear-headed and rational, I'm like very anti-violence. But more importantly than that, I guess my thought was, if I'm out and about and I'm really not fucking with the energy that I'm getting back from this place, I'm not getting a gun. I'll be honest. I'm selling the house. I'm leaving. Like that is the more realistic thing for me. Now, in your case, it's different though. This is not your vacation home. This is your home. Like you can't run out of this town. But you also wouldn't get run out of this town. I have an element that hates me that you don't have. We have some on our diagram, on our Venn diagram, we have some crossover haters.
Yes.
Like the fucking MAGA lunatics. You don't have them, do you?
No, I get called an N-word lover pretty often. I do get a lot of because you have to understand, even on the old podcast and our podcast now, it is still rooted in hip hop. And what's so interesting and ironic about hip hop is there is so many Republican MAGA lunatics around the world that grew up on hip hop. So they listen to the show because they love hip hop. But then once you say one fucking word about Biden, now my mentions are full of fuck the show, you piece of shit. You just love N-words. And I'm like, Jesus, if you listen to my show before, you must enjoy hip hop. Why are you saying this to me?
It's so crazy. And like, I don't understand it. That's wild. So they want to listen. They'll sit around listening to you and Maul, a black man, speaking together week after week. But once you express political views, they then jump straight to it just all comes out. It comes spewing out of them.
Yeah, and
I get it with Hot 97 listeners too, dude. Like we have people listening. I always assume Ebro doesn't. He's a troll. He probably likes it. But I always assume that like I'm talking to a like-minded audience. He knows that there are people listening on Long Island, Jersey, Staten Island, everywhere, Brooklyn, everywhere, driving around listening to us because they like rap music. They like black culture the way that John Turturro liked black culture and Do the Right Thing. Yeah. They just don't give a fuck. And when it gets to the politics, that's when they get tight. Do you feel a kinship? Do you feel a redheaded hip hop kinship to Drewski? Jersey?
So I actually I think I need to apologize to Drewski. That's weird that he even got brought up.
Yes. I'm glad you just made me go walk into the fucking pits of hell. Let's hear about why you need to apologize to Drewski.
I don't even know if the clip is up. It was so long ago. And this was when I was saying I've evolved a lot as far as how I've handled things publicly, especially on podcasts and on the internet. Drewski was getting booked to DJ this like off-brand biting version of Henny Palooza. It was like Henny Fest or like some bullshit. And I felt a way and I got in my feelings about it.
I remember
and I forgot. We were doing Palooza in Atlanta and my homegirl Steph had a podcast and she then went on to Revolt and do a bunch of other shit. Shout out to Steph. I did her podcast and she brought it up. And I remember not saying kind things about Drewski when all he did was take a gig. Like, right. It wasn't his event. I guess I just was in my feelings because there were so many parties that were biting our shit and kind of like devaluing what our actual worth in that event space would have been, because we were just being affiliated with all these fucking terrible parties where bad shit was happening. And
what were the Henny Palooza knockoffs?
There was Patron Fest, there was Henny Fest, everyone just started doing parties that were branded to a specific liquor theme or a vice theme, more or less. Like there was there was like Dutch Palooza. I'm like, that sounds disgusting, first of all.
Who even wants to do this?
There was a Hookah Palooza, which I'm like, all right, man.
By the way,
what does it smell like in there?
I mean, I'm the one who should be tight at everybody. Who had the first hip hop palooza in the game? I should have come after you guys and all of them.
It's funny. After we did Palooza, it never even connected in my head until I feel like, I don't know, you posted like a
throwback.
Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck. I used to go to Peter Palooza. Fuck. maybe I bit that. And those used to be really fun, Peter Paloozas.
They were. I just stumbled on some pictures the other day. God, psycho that I did that. But yeah, it was fun.
But I'm so glad that we just talked about Drewski, because Drewski hit me on DM when my first single came out, asking for the clean version.
Wow.
And I missed the DM for like a week, because I don't really check my DMs the way I probably should. And I replied back with the clean version for him. And he was like, oh, bro, I already played it a few times on the radio. I was like, oh, fuck. Why did I say mean things? This guy's so nice.
So nice. So nice.
Like, I'm such an asshole. Even though it was like, I'm telling you, it was maybe 8 years ago that I said this shit. Like,
it's very, like, you and I are not similar in some ways and very similar in other ways. And I think we both have that stupid gene of, like, if there's someone who could be perceived as in my lane, or we're similar in some way, my default initially, until my better brain registers, unless I'm given a reason to like them, I would naturally go to fuck them, which is a shitty place to go to.
Fuck them. I'm just not. I'm not like, I don't like getting to know new people to begin with. So it's not usually fuck people, but it's always like, I don't particularly care, and that can come off dismissive and like an asshole, and that I am on some fuck him type of shit. The Drewski thing was just personal. It could have been any DJ that did that, and I would have said something. It wasn't so much that we look like fucking twins, but that just, obviously added to it.
And what town are you from in Jersey?
Well, I'm in Jersey City. I spent a lot of time in Jersey City for the most part.
So mostly Jersey City.
Yeah, I mean, I've between my dad living fucking everywhere, I've lived Baltimore, Fort Lauderdale, Queens, Rhode Island, Jersey City. I've lived fucking everywhere. Like,
is your dad? I say this with all due respect. Is your dad a maniac?
Yes.
That's
Great guy, but he is 100% the Irish guy that grew up in Newark and the Bronx in the 70s and 80s. Like, he's that guy. He's that stereotypical guy.
And is that what he sounds like and feels like also?
Yes and no, because he's very charismatic. He's very witty. He's fucking hilarious. Like, he can control and own a room in a heartbeat, because he does come off as a very fun guy, but that can shift. There is no middle ground with him. It's either he's the funnest guy in the world, or he's probably going to beat the shit out of you. Matter of fact, he is going to beat the shit out of you.
And it's already over.
Yeah.
So
there's no middle ground. Yeah. There's no middle ground with him. And that can shift without warning. Well, but he's a great guy. He's just, he's a fucking old Irish guy.
What kind of cigarettes does he smoke?
He doesn't smoke cigarettes. He's a big weed smoker. Big weed smoker.
Okay, big. Yeah, I remember that.
He smokes a lot of weed.
You and I were on the phone one day, a long time ago. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening, but I remember you were with your dad, and somehow he was like taking a piss out of the car while you were on the phone with me or something. Does that sound familiar?
My dad and I. All right. My secret parking spot, which I can give away at this point. I always park at Concourse Village in the Bronx to go to Yankee games. That's like my secret fucking parking area.
Okay.
So him and I were in the car in Concourse Village, and drinking before the game in the car, and we were listening to your show on ESPN, because my dad listens to your show all the time, and he asks about you often.
Oh, that's nice.
My dad asks about you all the time. Sometimes I think he's alluding to, like, hey, can he get us Yankees tickets? And I'm like, I mean,
Dad, chill.
And we started drinking them. At that point, you were still sort of on the podcast with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we prank called your show, and it went live. And my dad, and if I remember correctly, yes, I think my dad was pissing outside of the car while I was on the phone prank calling your radio show.
Did you prank call as yourself? Like, did you say you were you?
I think I forgot what you guys were talking about, but how like the producer or whatever will like screen the call.
Yeah, and
like,
they'll say
before they get on. Yeah, like, what is it? I don't think he asked for my name, but I accurately replied to what you guys were talking about. And then once I got on there live, I just said
you
that
did the true you did the true shitty douchebag move. That's what the whole move is.
But I grew up listening to the radio. I'm 32 years old. I know all the radio tricks.
Right.
Of when they call in. So yeah, I think I said something about the JVP shit and you just being a piece of shit that can't get us a guest or something like that.
I do remember this.
It was something like that.
Hey, by the way, I was thinking about this earlier also. Do we first know each other from By Any Means?
Yes. I just had dinner with Aristotle.
Oh man, how's Aristotle doing, dude?
Aris is doing fucking great. He just shot his first feature film. Like they literally just wrapped. He's in the editing right now.
Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah, Aristotle, of course we know how great he was at music videos, but he's on some whole different shit. Like he's known at Sundance. Like it was amazing when he was doing Nas videos, but now it's like he just went full-fledged. Nas is EP in the his feature film.
Wow.
Yeah. So
hey, look, his number still comes up as blue in my phone. Has he kept the same number all these years?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever changed.
Yo, for people who don't know who are listening, Aristotle was like, I kind of want to call him like a boy wonder.
Yeah.
Like he was very young and found a way to be successful at like everything he was trying. You know,
he also found J. Cole and was J. Cole's first manager. Like J. Cole was first. If you look at the Come Up mixtapes, and like those early ones, the By Any Means logo was on there. And like if you who did the drops? Why the fuck am I blanking on his name? I love one of my favorite DJs growing up. Jesus Christ.
What did the drops for the J. Cole tape?
Yeah. He did a bunch of like stack bundle shit, he did Joe shit. It'll come to me. But like on the J. Cole Come Up mixtapes, like the DJs yelling out, shout out Aristotle, shout out Ali, shout out like just the By Any Means group. So Cole was originally like first on By Any Means, not paperwork wise, but you know,
as a crew. Know what you're saying? You know what you're saying?
Mm.
You're saying Aristotle, although I'm sure he did much more, but from a credit standpoint, he's like Peter Rosenberg on the Joe Budden podcast.
More or less, yes.
He's been left out of the story, but he was there. He was definitely there.
You were the first voice they heard was you.
First voice ever. By the way, it's funny too. I think when that like comes up, I think people, you know what it is? This is what annoys me about people. Why do you bring it up? If you had a friend who you just helped, I've never tried to say I was the be all end all, but if you had just a friend that you helped and supported and were like, hey, you should do this. You're fucking good. This will be awesome. Here's how, if you just played a small part in that.
Yeah.
And because maybe of your own doing, I am not saying it's not because of me, because of your own doing, ended up not being fully involved. And it became one of the biggest things in the world in that genre. You wouldn't bring it up every 6 months. Like it comes up every 6, like, yeah, Joe, he went on to be one of the biggest podcasters in the game. Of course it's going to, like, it doesn't mean I'm angry or tight or expect a check to come in the mail. A gift would have been maybe like once when he got like his biggest contract, if he'd been like, hey, Pete, check the mail. And I looked and he just sent me like a fire framed big pun photo. That would have been nice. I would have accepted a gift, but I have no expectations.
And we don't have to go down, right? But I can promise you, Joe Budden was not going to buy you a photo of Big Pun and send it to your house.
That's not a bold. I hope that's not the bold.
It's like if that's what you thought, if that's what you thought would happen, if Joe would just be, out on a Target run and run into a Big Pun.
Like, you know what?
Photo, be like, would love this. Pete would love this. But I mean, listen, I get it. I have no leg to stand on. I did a fucking 2.5 hour response video and charged $2 for it. So who the fuck am I to even comment on it? But
where
I get it.
You asked me the tough question earlier, and I don't know if this comes up on your podcast often or not, but like, where are you and Joe right now?
No relationship.
None at all.
But no, I don't have. I can be honest. Oh, you're gay. See, I was never even going to talk about this shit, but
if you don't like it, we'll take it out.
No. I fuck with you. So, and at some point, I'm gonna have to do a fucking press run for my album, and I have to get prepared.
Oh, you know what?
To be asked to be asked this question 1,000 times, and yeah, I just have to figure out the best way I want to be represented with my answer. I
Gotcha.
was kind of over the entire thing. I didn't really hold. I was very angry in the beginning. Don't get it wrong. I was very fucking angry. I was very hurt. I was fucked up. Yeah, it was a really shitty time in my life, personally and just business. Because again, how you're saying something you built and it's the biggest thing ever. Yeah, it was what I knew.
You had a much bigger role.
It's what I knew for almost 7 years. That stopped in a day. So yeah, it was definitely fucked up. Obviously, there was the personal level of the entire thing. But I did start to get over it. I can't lie. When he did the press run with the DZA math thing, I kind of got re-pissed off. To be honest, it re-pissed me off.
He went on with Smokey and went on with math.
Yeah, and he might have done some other press as well. And of course, I'm never telling somebody that they're not allowed to talk about an experience they were involved with. Right. I'm not mad at him doing press runs or anything. Just the things he said in it, I know he knows is completely untrue. So it just pissed me off again when I was getting to a place that I was kind of over the shit and like was in a place where like, yeah, I don't really fucking hate this person anymore. I know things are weird, but I don't hate them. But that press run put me in a place of like, what? Come on.
Right. It reignited the like actual anger about it for a while.
Like we're still on this and your story is changing. Like what is going on here? But I mean, it is what it is at this point. I really don't hold crazy resentment for it. I really do wish everybody, I know this sounds political and corny. I really mean this. I do wish everyone the best. I think everyone should be
but it means more. Everyone sounds cliche and corny. Saying you wish Joe the best means more, I think.
Well, I mean, I know, even though I disagree and probably will never have a relationship with a lot of people that were on that staff and do still feel a certain way about how they handled things and the certain things they said behind the scenes and on camera and just how they overall moved in a regard that I thought those were people that were my friends. I still do wish, I know I can't just say Joe because I hope everyone else does well too. I don't want people to stop eating.
Right.
Like I want
everyone. You mean the bigger everyone of the show?
Yeah, like I know people on his staff's kids. I know their wives. I know, like I don't want people. I don't want to see the demise of them. So like when I see like all these numbered games and all these debates and the fans being split, I'm like, I wish they knew that. And I think I speak from all too in this regard. We don't want to see anyone's fucking career end.
Demal and Joe speak at all or no?
No, not at all.
So it was a complete sever with both. Interesting. I relate. Even again, totally different circumstance, but I think to have a close relationship with Joe on some level, and listen, Joe's not my best friend, but we've had a lot of ups and downs over the years. To have any sort of long-term relationship with Joe is going to have complicated moments. I almost felt like how everything played out with Marissa. With me to some degree, but more so with Marissa, that then I watched it play out with you guys. I almost had that feeling of like you got cheated on by someone and now the new person's with them and you're like, all right, let's see how this plays out, bud. Let's hope you don't end up feeling the way me and Marissa feel.
Yeah, right.
There was a certain element of that, but it's weird because
I hope that hoe cheats on you too.
Exactly. But it does make me feel I do feel a weird, like I care for Joe. I wish him the best. He fucked me a couple times. He really fucked me good on the fucking XXX Tentacion passing when he said shit that I said and literally something that no one heard and said it in a way out of context that made me sound fucking like an insensitive monster. That shit, bro, I was getting straight up death threats. I'm like, bro, you took words that I said, totally changed them like you didn't know me. Like you think I'm a really bad person. Like, why would you have done that? See, but the thing is, Joe, it's always in his eyes, it's kind of always in the spirit of performance. And I don't think that's a legitimate excuse, but at the same time, I've made peace with it. And I don't let it affect, at this point, the way I view him overall. You know, I also do wish him the best. But obviously your situation, I'm glad that you say that, but your situation's a lot more loaded.
Yeah.
And that being said, it also worked out fantastic for you. And I said this to you at the time. I think
Yeah.
I hit you at the time and I'm like, yo, I know this sucks, but just to be clear, your life is indelibly different because of the Joe Budden podcast. Like,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so, like, yeah, it sucks how it played out, but at the same time, man, here we are now, and look at you. And obviously, you've only turned it up more and more since then.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us are mad at the pivot of what happened with the result. It's just how it happened. I can speak for me, and I do think the other two probably would say the same. It was corny. Like I never wanted to be those guys. Like we made fun of those guys, and then we became them.
You made a living making fun. Yeah, we did a full morning show about it. We did like one full day basically about the blow up of the podcast.
But you guys have went through some of that turmoil. I feel like.
Well, not. I mean, well, yes. Oh, at Hot in general.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hot shakeup, the whole Ebro coming, Cipha leaving. I mean, there's certainly weird shit that's happened.
Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, yours was much more entertaining.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when you're screaming at empty chairs, I mean, what's funnier than that?
Right, exactly. I mean, listen, Joe knows how to put on a show. You know what I mean? Now how much did you expect when you started doing the pod with Joe that like podcasting was going to become the focal point of your professional life?
Oh, it wasn't in my mind in the like that early stages when we were up on 54th Street, just shooting the shit. No. I did see it as something that I could utilize in my career. But again, I was so much on the behind the scenes shit that I think my thought process in those first, I don't know, 30 episodes was like, oh, this will be a really cool thing that I can pivot and use and like really help produce the show and use it in my career in other ways. And at that point, Joe was still very much focused on music. So this was also a side gig to him, the same way it was a side gig to me. I just think we start because we both weren't stupid and we could see the numbers and we could see the impact it was having and we could see the fun we were having and we could see how things were changing drastically between radio into podcasting at that time because that was like
how did you and Joe get close in the first place?
By any means.
Same thing. You met him through Biden's too.
I produced what the fuck is the name of the record? Castles off No Love Lost. I produced that video. And we did like some other marketing stuff for him, and we did a merch thing with him as well. And we became cool from that. So yeah, it was very much an industry meeting, but I would never consider us industry friends.
It was always a more personal friendship.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was my mess. But how's Marissa doing?
Marissa's doing good. Marissa's good. She DM'd me today about. Oh yeah, I hit her up to ask her what she was doing. I saw she was on the set of something. You know, Marissa had one. She seems really happy. She's found a home in LA, and it seems to be, it seems to really suit her. She had a shitty thing happen in that she was working on that Cardi B movie. Do you remember the Cardi B movie that got completely canned?
No. What?
That story really didn't make the sort of it made Hollywood headlines. It didn't make hip hop headlines.
Yeah, well, shout out to Mike Kaiser.
Exactly. So Cardi was starring in a movie about a woman who was pretending to be an old lady and hustle people. You remember hearing about that?
I know.
It was gonna have it was gonna have like Nutty Professor makeup type shit. Like she was gonna
got you.
Up, you know what I mean?
Was this after she said that the whole finessing men in the motel or whatever fucking story was?
Way after that.
Yeah, so it was all right, cool.
This is in the last year. In the last year. So this movie was getting made and it was
Was Tyler Perry gonna play her? Or how is that gonna work?
Tyler Perry would play Cardi B. And Cardi B would play the grandmother.
Yes.
Okay. No, but so whatever. This movie was all set, and Mendez was here for a few months working on it. And yeah, Cardi pulled out. The principal shooting started on a Monday. Cardi
Okay.
pulled out on Friday.
Jesus.
And listen, it didn't end up being that big a story, but like I was talking to Hollywood people, and I love Cardi. This isn't shade at Cardi, but this is the reality of what the situation was. Is it was like, yo, this is going to really hamper her down the line. You can't just pull out on a Hollywood big budget movie like this. Like you can't just like the amount of jobs that were already started. Like, I mean, God bless Marissa. She's on the low end of the things to worry about. There's a lot of things, a lot of people who were set to fucking go.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. I hope that Cardi ends up getting a big comedic role one day and could do it, because I would think she'd be fantastic at it. But by the way, this is like the most obvious shit that still doesn't feel obvious in 2022, even though it should. Being funny and holding up your phone and being funny to your followers is just not the same as comedic acting. It's just not.
No, I wouldn't even say with podcasting, because I remember
that.
I remember when Charlemagne and Brilliant Idiots were like pulling a bunch of Twitter personalities, which at the time I thought was a great idea. Like I thought it was really good that they were doing that. These guys were very popular on Twitter. They were hilarious on Twitter. Like, yeah, let's get a microphone and make some jokes with them and do an episode. So many of those guys, and it's not a fault to Charlemagne or to Andrew, but so many of those guys you realize are only funny when they're typing something on their phone. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same thing with these TikTok comedians or Instagram comedians that go and try and do stand-up. And it's like, no, this is a different monster. Like that nerdy, just sit and type funny joke shit does not translate when you actually have to be on a microphone and be actually intelligent. You don't have a lot of time to think about responses or jokes or even how you say things. You have to be really quick, witty. Like a lot of people don't have that. And that's why I don't think it really ever works when someone blows up on some comedy shit and tries to do a podcast or tries to become a stand-up comedian or tries to do an actual role. Very rarely does that ever happen. But Cardi, on the other hand, she started on the internet, clearly was the fucking star of Love and Hip Hop. Yep. And then it transitioned into her, and since it's Juan Epstein, let's get really nerdy. How she delivers her raps, I don't care who writes them. I'm not here to even talk about that. Her flow, delivery, her inflections with her voice, all of that derives, I think, from those early days on the internet. So she's one of the very few people that has transitioned so well from that. So I could also see that talent working in a movie, like, because we've seen her in every single step deliver after she was the funny girl holding her phone up like I'm Cardi B. So the question, I completely agree with you. First of all, I always agree. I think Cardi, people say a lot of different things about Cardi B. Her performance on records can never be questioned. Like her actual performance is fucking rock solid. And that speaks to exactly what you were just saying. I just wonder whether she believes it. You know, I think for Cardi, and I think about this a lot, and this is a good portion for us to get into some nerdy music talk, because you definitely enjoy doing that as well. Oh, like super nerd.
I think Cardi right now is in a really tough spot.
Toughest.
It's been, and honestly, whoever is most in charge of, along with her, and deciding this, they have only made things worse. Like they have put her behind the 8 ball so bad to where at this point it's like, how do you hit the kind of home run she needs, Rory? She needs to hit a fucking towering Aaron Judge 500-foot home run right now. It's fucking hard.
But what's so interesting too, and what would devastate me, is the record she just put out. I mean, obviously, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, and I know people are sensitive, flopped by Cardi B standards. Cardi B is not the problem on that song. Cardi B is the best part of that song. The fact that you get Dirk and Kanye on a single and it flops and you're Cardi B, yeah, I would be scared too. And I can't even fault their team, because of course, yes, she needs that home run. Let's go get Dirk, one of the more popular rappers with the kids. Let's go get Kanye, a fucking legend.
Kanye,
and then Cardi fucking bodied it. She killed both of them.
Great on it too.
She killed both of them. The problem is Kanye and Dirk on that record. It's not even Cardi. That record flopped because of them. I feel that's just my personal opinion.
Oh,
but
Kanye's verse was Draka.
We have to stop with these unfinished Kanye verses.
That's the thing. But okay,
they're getting annoying.
But by the way,
they've been on the last 3. They were on the Game album. They were on the Push album.
Yep. But that's why you can't. That's why you shouldn't take the gas off of her team, because everyone was so thirsty to use that Kanye verse. They should have known this isn't good enough. It sounded dated. The second we heard it, I remember me and Cass were talking, and Cass went up. We were like, "Yo, you could tell this is his flow from a year ago. You could tell this is beat. Like this is not it."
And I'm referring to the Easy record on Game album, the one with Drewski, because Drewski smoked Game and Kanye, but it sounds like an old ass shit. I think It's Almost Dry is damn near a flawless rap album. The only problem is the lazy fucking flip that Kanye West did with the 1+1 Beyonce shit, and then the unfinished verse that he put on. Like, Kanye was the issue that would make It's Almost Dry not a perfect album to me.
Wow.
Which is so weird. I know, and I'm a Kanye stan. I am a Kanye West stan.
Do you know it's really hard for people? I'm telling you, like, you don't hear from psychos all the time. It's really hard for people to accept that you can love Kanye and also be fucking critical and annoyed by him. Like, people can't seem to accept that. Like, yo, I was talking about it recently with my girl. She's never been to a Ye show. She's been to a good amount of hip hop shows. She's never been to a Ye show. And I started going through the list in my head. I've been to like every tour. And I basically, with the exception of when I DJ'd for Consequence at Glow in the Dark, every other tour, I bought tickets as a stan and sat out there in the crowd. Like, it was not like I had a relationship good. This is not Kendrick. This is Kanye. I didn't have a relationship. All fanboy shit. And then it's like his fans are weird though. It's like they don't allow you to even be critical of these things that he does that are like, fuck the let's not even bother on the politics, because you're a music guy. Musically, Rory, he started doing this shit where, like, being lazy and messy and incomplete and late and all this shit, pretending that was all part of the art, as if every other great artist in history hasn't had to hit deadlines and do all the annoying shit to make their art work. It's fucking horse shit, bro. And he suffered because of it. Like, his product has suffered ever since Life of Pablo. There have been good things, of course there have, but it hasn't been what it was before that.
No, after Life of Pablo, Ye was the first. It's weird. Kanye doesn't even have okay albums. He has fucking 8 amazing fucking bodies of work, and then one of the shittiest albums I've ever heard in my life.
That's how you feel.
Yeah, is an actual piece of shit. I hate that album so much.
You don't even like the whatchamacallit joint?
You know what's sick?
Wrote?
You know what's sick? No, no, it's not a bad record. I only compare artists amongst themselves. That Ye album is far better than a bunch of other albums that came out that year. But I only compare it to what Kanye West does. That's shitty Kanye West album.
Fair enough.
And that, all right, the Drake record sounds like a lazy Drake record too. The intro is the only record I like, but that's because I'm actually a depressive psychopath.
Frightening, find help. Sometimes I scare myself.
And I like the beat when it kicks into.
When was the last time you listened to it?
What'd you say?
When was the last time you listened to that?
I listen to that set. No, I listen to that one semi often, and not often. Not as much as I listen to Water on the God album.
Water is an incredible song.
Oh, I mean, Water it's the greatest.
Incredible song.
So, but you know what I'm so tight about too? I'm so dumb. I used to get so much cool shit when I was actually in the know still and didn't have I have the Drake version of this record. I had it. It's gone. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened with it. It was there though. And
I could probably find it. I think I have it in my iTunes somewhere.
Is it a thing that was around?
It was passed around for sure. A lot of records were passed around that.
From that period?
Yeah, from just that era, specifically with Kanye too, that were just out.
Well, again,
if the world could hear.
What, some of them are just bad?
And just certain things he was saying, because right around that Ye time was when he was, and I'm not even saying politically wise, just everything he was saying at that time, he was kind of out of his mind. So that showed up on a bunch of records that never came out, that people would look at Kanye West even crazier than they probably already do as far as some of his views.
I'm starting to get a fucking annoyed though, because I love that Kanye's body of work was like so flawless.
Is there a better body of work in hip hop?
I don't think so, you know, not with this much of it. Like that many good albums. I mean, by the time he got through Life of Pablo,
Is there another artist in hip hop that has more replay value than Kanye West? From 2004, no, fuck that, 2002 to now.
do you mean in rap?
I'm
or-
saying period. I'm saying from his career from 2002 to now.
Okay,
20 years.
Does
Does
anybody else
anyone
in
have more
history-
replay value than Kanye West?
Let me hold on. Let me dice this down even further. Meaning more material you can replay.
Yes.
No.
I don't.
No.
I don't even think,
Because he
And-
didn't waste album cuts. There are artists we love. Hove, for example, has albums where album cuts were thrown away. Kanye
Yeah.
Now Kanye has a couple. I do think that College Dropout and Late Registration are a little beefy. I would cut down both of them a touch, but you're comparing him to other great artists who have albums where 40% of it I would cut out.
dude. The Glory is a B-side.
Was it even on a B-side? It was on a B-side?
Yeah, like I don't even know if it was actually technically on a B-side.
I don't think it was.
It's an album cut, and that's
Album cut. And I used to play Glory out all the time. It's such a fucking great record.
now. I'm gonna ask you a question since I know you're fucking Kendrick Lamar. Yes,
Gonna take it to the glory.
Alone in my mind, I can't stand it. No.
that shit.
That shit hits you in the soul. I mean, his best shit, man. And it's tough because I remember, getting close with Amber. I heard shit about Kanye that made me like not love Kanye the dude. I could never put down the music. Like I was just like, I'm fucking hooked on it. And I still am. He drives me fucking insane. And everything he says, I'm like, there's not a word you say I agree with. All right, what were
This is just a like a seaside.
Let me hear one. Oh,
It's like this is like I just don't think, and everyone makes fun of me how much of a Jay-Z stan I am, but I would say Kanye West has the best catalog in hip hop and the most replay value, which is never added into all those pillars that we add in as far as lyricism, hits, party records. No one adds in replay value. Like you could be the greatest lyricist ever. Does it have much replay value?
so okay, then with that in mind, let's say Kanye's number one. Take him off the conversation. Kanye's number one. Who else do you put at the top of the replay value?
Drake. I would obviously have to be there.
No, this is where our 10-year age gap is going to rear its ugly head. Because how much Drake am I replay? Other people are. I understand it. As Ebro always says very wisely, if you're a woman and you went to college, you love Drake, right? Like he has an entire demo that, like, yes, you just fuck with him. And
but you have to understand too. My first semester freshman year, no, second semester freshman year of college was when So Far Gone dropped.
Right.
So like that, it's different.
It's
I
just
guess
different.
in my
There's
age,
no way.
it's a staple in my life.
Yep. There's no way to compare growing with music like that. Bro, I've been around when Drake came out. I remember him being excited to talk to me. Okay. That's how long.
Well, he's a hip hop nerd.
No, but that's how old I was too. Like I'd already been grinding for all those years when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? That was when I was. So you're right. The disconnect is huge because you're 32. Yeah, man. That's a different. I'm trying to think of the comp for me. Shit that came out my sophomore year of college. Yeah, that shit resonates. You're talking about Outkast, Aquemini, you know? So I get it.
And but that that trains your ear to fucking love the Kendrick Damn album so much, because Aquemini is still stuck so much in your nostalgia of the moments you were living when it happened. Like the way you may not love R&B Drake, I was a freshman in college when Sooner or Later came out. So 8 years later, my ear and brain is already so trained to love Jungle off Views and think it's the greatest fucking R&B song, just because it still is related to the old nostalgia I had at 18 with So Far Gone. So it's the difference on that. I just think Drake is probably the highest next to Kanye as far as replay value.
Well,
I mean, personally, Hov would be there with me, but I don't know if the rest of the world would say the same thing. I'm speaking more so personally when it comes to Jay. But the world, I think Kanye and Drake would have the most replay value in 2022 than any other artist.
So let me ask you the obvious, the very right now question. You know, B. Dot has been.
Does Kendrick have any replay value on his album? Is that what you're asking?
No, we can get to that. I feel very strongly about this Kendrick album. I'll give you a preview. It's only getting better to me. It's not the opposite. That's my honest to God opinion.
Let's talk about it.
All right. Let's pause right there for a second, Rory, and do a whole separate episode. I think we got to do more with Rory. We're talking to Rory from Rory and Mal, Joe Budden podcast fame, music fame, general great guy and industry staple. So let's do a whole nother episode with Rory for the Patreon. And if you want to hear another hour and us get into a whole lot more, yes, Rory, stick around for an hour. Sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/Juan Ep is life. We'll do more with Rory there.